let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody should have copies of the minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes that need to be made?
Good. Wrong. Unfortunately, wrong way.
Hearing none, then they stand approved as presented. Move on to the financial reports. Let the bank take over.
Sure, thank you. So we'll start top of that first page with the permanent maintenance Greenwood account. For the month of August, that account was up 0.19%, and year to date, it is up 1.57%. If we move down to the next account, which is permanent maintenance Swan Lake, that account is up 0.16% for the month of August and 1.4% year to date. Below that we have the extension fund. That account is, and actually we have bills go out of that account that month, or in the month of August, for Metalworks and Austin Masonry. That account that was up 0.20% for the month and 1.67% year to date. And then if you drop down to the bottom with the merchandise and commissions fund, we have bills go out for Matthews and Harris. And that account is up 0.16% for the month and 1.05% year to date. So those accounts are all up for the month of August. If you flip over to the third page there, with the summaries of the accounts, money market currently at 2.26.
What happened to the next one?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I could have given you this one.
No, that'll go for the new member. Thank you.
Oh sure. Money market 2.26%, slightly down from last report, which was 2.29%. The mutual funds overall yield in that permanent maintenance Greenwood account at 2.67, which is down from 2.75 last month. And then the overall yield in that account, 2.77, down a little bit from last month, which was 2.82. Next we have the permanent maintenance Swan Lake account. That mutual fund overall yield is 2.75, which is down from 2.85 last month. And then the overall yield in that account is at 2.64, down from 2.69. Next, in the extension fund account, in the mutual fund overall yield is 2.76, which is up from last month, which was 2.69. And then the overall yield in the account is at 2.86, which is again up from last month of 2.82. And then finally we have the merchandise fund account. Mutual fund overall yield in that account 2.77, which is up from last month's 2.68. And then the overall yield in that account is at 2.5, which is up from last month at 2.46. One thing I did want to bring up as well is we do have some CDs maturing in the account next month. It looks like October 8th, and those are 3 CDs from the same bank, Stearns Bank. Right now it was yielding 2.05%. So once we do receive those funds in early October, we'll want to reinvest that into another vehicle.
So along those same lines, we've got the U.S. government, which is pretty much at a break even. It was down substantially before that, and it's 2.6. Is there any sense in doing anything with that on some of that money? Sure, a better rate maybe.
Yeah, I think Brian can speak to that.
Sure, SIT does have an nice yield, and it is a mutual fund on our approved guidance list for our
Right.
client base. Really, the only negative thing I could say about that particular fund is the expense ratio is a little bit high. There's some other funds where maybe the yield's a little bit less, but the expense ratio is quite a bit lower. Say like a Ginnie Mae, Vanguard Ginnie Mae. We also have on our guidance list a Vanguard short-term treasury fund with about a 2-year duration. The yield on that is quite a bit lower though. It's 1.6%.
What are we looking at CDs now?
CDs are about 2%. Whatever maturity you look at, whether it's 1 years up to 5 years. Sometimes we can pull 210 if there's a special, and
So really, there wouldn't be any way to improve on it. We're better off where we're at, I think, for the yield and the fact that it seems to have stabilized in value. But
yes, interest rates have stabilized here after kind of a wild month.
Thanks.
We had a drop all the way down to 140 on the 10-year Treasury in the month of August, and the market was pricing in imminent recession. Subsequent to August, in the last 2 weeks, September, yields have reversed completely almost to 180 on the 10-year and 172 on the 2-year. It hasn't really changed CD rates from the bank issuers quite yet. I think everyone is waiting on the Fed's decision next Wednesday, where they're widely expected to lower interest rates 25 basis points. So I think once we get that news behind us, we'll be in a better position to see what the banks are willing to offer out for CD rates. But I don't expect them to move up from like 2 to say 250 or anything like that, or 225. I would expect, maybe 10, 15 basis points higher. So, I mean, if you're yield focused and you don't mind the higher expense ratio, I think SIT would definitely get you more yield than the CDs at the moment, and keeps you with the government protection.
sounds like it.
In terms of the other comments in regards to the economic outlook that we have and interest rates, I've kind of covered the last couple months here in interest rates. As far as what we expect moving forward, with the Fed expected to reduce rates next week, we expect the shape of the yield curve, which is when you look at the line comparing the 2-year and the 10-year. Typically, it's a positive sloping line where 2-year yields are much lower than 10-year yields because you want to take on a higher yield if you're an investor to lend your money out for a longer period of time. We're in this crazy phenomenon right now where we briefly inverted the yields, where the 10-year yields were less than the 2 years. But what we expect moving forward is for those 2-year yields to drop quite a bit as the Federal Reserve reduces interest rates as part of their monetary policy. So we expect the yield curve to steepen back out. So we expect 10-year yields to be much higher than 2-year yields as we look forward in 6 to 9 months as the Fed reduces interest rates. And that should be beneficial for fixed income instruments or bonds that have shorter term maturities, 2 years or in. Those should see price appreciation. Whereas the stuff, past 5 years as far as maturities go, we'll probably just see no market value movement, maybe a little bit market value movement down, but it should be fairly stable, and you should just pick up the interest income from the coupon for those instruments. And you can potentially get a little bit more market value appreciation on those shorter term instruments as we expect the Fed to drop rates. So that's kind of where we're focusing our clients is on the shorter end of the yield curve to pick up that potential market value appreciation. And that's really it. I mean, the economy is still plugging along at about 2%. There's still an ongoing trade war with China. A lot of pressure from the White House on the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. We'll see how that all plays out.
To 0 or less.
Yeah, even negative, I heard.
Cool.
So we'll all get paid to borrow money at some point at this rate. So there's a lot still yet to be decided in the months ahead with monetary policy and politics. So we'll be watching it closely. And if anybody has any questions about those types of issues, I'd be happy to answer them. And we can always update you too as well, closer to the time those CDs mature, about where the current rates are, and in case something changes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Isn't it, I just read some news off thing here. Scandinavia, aren't they, in the Scandinavian countries, their banks aren't paying any interest. In fact, you have to pay them to watch their money. I read that in the Chicago Tribune about a month or so ago.
Yeah, there's some negative deposit rates.
Okay. Well, I thought 0.5 was
Yeah,
bad.
just put it in the jar. Put it in your backyard and be done with it. Underneath
That's
your
all I just-
mattress, come on.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Let's move to the bank's financial situation, and I think that can be answered fairly easily. We had the bigger loss there, but it wasn't so much an operational loss in the sense that, yeah, maybe income was down in a few places and the expenses up a few dollars, but we paid workers' comp, which was $14,000 all at one shot.
And it was a 3-pay period month.
Yeah. So, I mean, that made a big difference, and so the numbers look worse than they really are. They're just sort of fitting back into what was originally budgeted. But that's the only thing I saw. They're looking through here. If anybody else have any questions on our financial reports? If not, is there a motion to approve the financial reports?
Motion to approve.
Moved and seconded. If there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? What do we got for bills?
Matthews, $1,704.52. Harris Precast, $232 even. Board of Cemetery Trustees, petty cash, bottled water, $13.10. Board of Cemetery Trustees, $150. That was for repair of the front door here at Greenwood, the locked up, and I called the gentleman we had gone to, recommend a different one. So we just paid it since it was our first time until we could set up a payment with it. Cable and Ace Hardware, assorted parts for repairs of water lines and assorted equipment, $195.15. Michigan City Auto, $163.95. We needed to get a new battery, a marine battery for the hoist and lifting device for the mausoleum out at Swan Lake. J. Thomas, $220.02. That's for string trim for the trimmers at Greenwood and Swan Lake. Noel Brothers, gasoline and diesel, $2,294.02. NIPSCO, $431.17. Water and sewage, $836.84. All Points Fire and Safety for the safety inspection at Swan Lake, $254.20. It also included some new fire extinguishers. Rigs for repair parts, $207.42. Permanent maintenance receipts, $1,292.89. Greenwood, $292.64. Swan Lake, $1,000.25. Extension fund receipts, $4,187.80. Merchandise receipts, $5,643.20 for a total of $11,123.89, and those are the reading of the bills, Mr. President.
Anybody question any of the bills? We want clarification.
Just how high the water bill was. Consider we had water off, I don't know how long. Or does that run over from when it was still on?
From when it's still on.
And I think we still have to get the bill. Don't we get charged for shut off?
You haven't shut off yet.
No, but I mean, we'll have shut off fees.
No, I'm
But this bill is from,
Yeah, that's what it was.
No, I was just kind of curious.
That's what it was from because we're always money behind with it.
If not, any more questions, let's have a motion to pay the bills.
I'll move we pay the bills.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mark, that moves it to you.
last month, Vice President Fetter made a notice in the financial report that the one line item was missing. The computer, in all its great wisdom, didn't put it in there. So this is the revised amount that went into last month's financial report.
Thank you.
Thank her, she figured it out.
Okay. Thank you, Roxanne.
Temperamental computer there.
Yes. So it's strange last month when it was just all blank.
It was a good thing when we didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything. Yeah.
I do this myself.
There's not a lot going on, but I will bring up a few things here. We have sold another 2 crypts at Swan Lake in the Serenity Building and assorted niches in the new Serenity Building. So, but getting back to this, water, we had a water leak up here that I brought up last month between section 1 and Calvary 4. We found where the leak was. We had the water department come in with their cutter, so we cut a big patch in the road. And he went down to where it was, and it was right in the middle of the road. There was a big hole in one of the pipes shooting it straight up, so that has been fixed. Now I'm waiting, and I talked to the gentleman from the water department, their construction foreman, gave me a couple names of people that do blacktopping to fill up our area out there. And that will go into another story later. But we will be getting that done, definitely, even if we don't get the other one done, which we should, but we'll be getting that done before winter. And I heard talk earlier about this. Budget hearings will be next Wednesday, September 18th, at the City Hall chambers there, in that one EOC room. And we are, along with about 9 other departments, scheduled for 5:45. Now, for the last several years, we were scheduled at 5:45, but we don't get in until like 8 o'clock or so. So that's for the budget. Now, coinciding with that, this came over the internet today. This shows how much tax money the cemetery receives. I'm sure she'll pass around. It's the orange spot where the cemetery, all the other ones show what their taxes are, how much they receive. You can see with a 00 for the cemetery. So why we have to go to the meeting, I'm not sure. But that's neither here nor there. But this is next Wednesday. I'm going possibly, along with Mrs. Duval.
I'll be there. I'm gonna be there.
So that's, I don't know if you want to go, I wouldn't. I didn't have to.
I'll make an attempt.
Hmm?
I might try it.
All right, well, then I don't have to go. Just messing with you. We also have an appointment to take the remaining term of Mrs. Nichols. His name is J. Slutzkin. Slutzkin. Have to do some research, see if he's a lot owner and stuff. I'm not sure yet. He said he was, but can't find anything out. So that'll be approved. You have to go before the city council for approval. City ordinance says that he has to be a resident of Michigan City and also a lot, crypt, or niche owner. But his name is J. Slutzkin. I don't know him at all. Does anybody know a J. Slutzkin? I guess that's the best way to be. Mrs. Rolfe has a complaint about the phone system at Swan Lake. In all the years that we have been here, our phone system out there, usually supplied by the city, and I can't say that on TV, is bad. The last 3 days, it has been horrendous. You call, you don't hear nothing but loud static. She's called what those people call?
IT.
The IT department to come out. Even if they would just give her a cell phone to use until they get something done. We've got 4 brand new phones that the city gave, 2 to Greenwood, 2 to Swan Lake, probably 4 or 5 years ago. They're sitting in the vaults at both places. They can't hook them up because they're not compatible with our system or with their system to us. Swan Lake is like a prehistoric section of town. We don't have microwaves out there. We don't have all kinds of whatever they said. They keep putting it off. The only thing I'm saying is for people call, and it's very unprofessional, is when we have a system that we can't even use.
I couldn't hear her the other day.
And that's it. It's just terrible. And if a family calls, they've lost a loved one, or if a funeral director calls, that's fine. Don't take that.
Oh,
You're stealing my paper.
I was gonna put it so I remember where I was going.
Oh, well, that's on this other one. So I'm just wanting you, I don't know what we want to do or what can be done. She's called and talked to the gentleman down there about getting a cell phone that would be compatible with our number so she could have a phone out there until they get a new system or what. But right now,
What do I have to do, run new lines out?
I honestly don't know. They keep saying it's going to be $500,000 or $250,000.
Yeah, Andy from IT told me when they set that up, he said, you will have problems with this. Oh, you're right.
And you've only got
We
the
do.
one number on there.
I don't even have a phone in my office anymore.
That's what I thought.
They took my phone out, took it apart, and said it doesn't work. Well, it was working fine, but they took it out, they flipped a switch somewhere, and now all we have is one phone, and that only works probably 20% of the time.
Today it was okay, but it's a hit and miss. If somebody calls and then I have to pretty much yell. And I'm not giving my cell number out to every customer.
No.
I mean, I do to funeral directors, I will do that. And also, if we have a service coming up, I've given it to a family to call me back because we have a service this week,
You know Mark's
or
phone
the
number.
24th.
You know Mark's phone number, just call superintendent.
That's true.
It's an idea. I'll leave
Might have to.
I'll leave the damn thing in the truck.
No, and when the phone system is working and somebody calls in and you're on the phone, the noise is so loud that you have to keep saying, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. So that makes the customer think, is she not listening to me? Because I can't hear because of the noise. I just have to keep saying, would you wait? We have a call coming in. If you could wait for a moment until that person decides to hang up. So, yes.
I just wanted to bring it out
Very
so it's
frustrating.
on record that in case somebody calls one of you board members that, hey, something's wrong with Swan Lake, it is not our choice. It's the phone system out there is just, they took us away from AT&T or whoever it was, and now we're on this other thing, and it's just garbage. So Just wanted to bring that up. Water will be shut off at Greenwood Friday, September 27th for the season. And we're raising lot markers at Swan Lake, so what that means is where the corner posts are, so we know how to find a grave out there. Over the years, they sink and they go into the ground a little bit, so they've been raising them up. I don't know why, but in the Crossing Resurrection Garden, the old ones are old cement, and they're easy, you can still read it, whatever. In the Crossing Resurrection Garden, they're an old bronze marker, and probably, realistically, 95% of them have just disintegrated. There's about a 6-inch spike on them, and they're all bronze, and they've just deteriorated. So I'm working on getting a stainless steel disc like we put out there in the Serenity Garden, about 3.5 inches round with the numbers and information on it. It'll take a little bit, but we'll get those. We're going to exchange these old bronze markers and put out the new stainless steel, because we still have a lot of room in the Crossing Resurrection Garden, and if you don't have a lot marker, you're lost. Now we have those discs in Peace Garden, which are fine. We have about 85% burials in the Good Shepherd, so we don't need them. We can use our cement markers and off of old burials. Same with the Christmas Garden. It's almost totally full, and we can use what's out there. When we did Serenity years ago, we put those stainless steel discs out there, and we put them in the veterans area. The only one that's left is Crossing Resurrection, and that is a real challenge. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get them. I have to sit down and write all the numbers down and everything for the company, and they will get them stamped for us, made out, and then it's just a question of getting them in. They go in with a 10-inch, 1-inch spike into the ground, and they should never corrode, or at least for the next 6 months. I had something else, but I don't know what it was, so I'm done.
Okay.
See, I wrote number 7, but I didn't write nothing down on it. God, it's hot.
Any update or news on the granite for the niche wall?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard any more. There's still, it was going to take 6 to 8 weeks or so it's going to be a little bit.
He said end of September.
Yeah, well,
See it for
I can give the gentleman a call again, but
nah.
it comes from Italy, so maybe it's in Trump's backyard right now, I don't know.
Okay, anybody else have anything under old business that we haven't covered?
Just, you got all the trees removed. Remember you were talking about that last month? Swan Lake, we had 15 extra left.
Yeah, they took a couple more down, but then we got busy with funerals and a couple other things, and that's one of those things that we put on the back burner for right now. We've also been, when it's a little wetter, a little more rain, we've also been trimming around some of the stones out there. So those are right now on the back burner for present time. We still have a couple up by the garage that are probably going to have to come down yet this year. One we may have to hire out because it's close to an electric line. The other ones we could be able to drop those pretty easy. It's not a question of that, it's just a question of cleaning up the mess when you get them down. You know how much time you need. But yeah, I don't know if anybody's gone by the far west area of Swan Lake. All those dead trees that were there, that's opened up.
Yeah, it
Yes,
looks
it
good.
really looks nice there now. They've done an excellent job out there.
If there's nothing else under old business, anybody have anything for new business?
Gas line, in regards to the Greenwood Chapel. Talked to the engineer at NIPSCO. They will not directional bore on the property just because of the graves and everything else. So we have to install a sleeve from the fence line all the way up to the chapel so they can pull the gas line through it. It has to be a 3-inch sleeve, and we measured out the 320 350 feet or 340 feet or something along that line that we have to install. We have to go under 2 roads to do it. So that will be,
But I was talking about the blacktop.
yeah, blacktop, that's,
All together, then
Yeah.
hopefully we get that.
so the sooner we can get that in, we can get the, get it changed out. But we have to also run a gas line from where the new meter is over around the building and come back into the mechanical room to have that all new, because we can't hook up to the existing propane line.
How deep does it have to be?
2.5 feet. The NIPSCO, once there's that sleeve down, minimum 2 foot, no more than 2.5. And we've marked out a path, checked with the state.
State on easement availability, so there's no problem with putting it through the cemetery section itself because you're going to be in an easement.
Yeah.
This isn't something we'd
We have
have to hire somebody.
We're gonna do it.
our guys are gonna put that in.
Good.
We've got a 24-inch bucket, which is our small bucket. I wish we had one smaller, but that's what we've got. We'll go down. That seriously should not take any more than
The hardest part's
6
gonna be,
hours.
the hardest part's gonna be saw cutting the road, getting underneath the road
Yeah.
and getting up, and then it kinda has to bend, and the 3-inch pipe just doesn't bend as easy as what 2-inch. I was hoping we could've gotten by on 2-inch. But NIPSCO runs a 1-inch gas main now instead of the old 1/2-inch. So that's why we have to go up to the 3-inch line. And once we get the sleeve in, talking to one engineer, they said they're not that busy right now, so within 10 days they could get the line put in and stubbed up behind there, and then all we have to do is get our part done around, and then the other part we have to do is get the orifices changed out on the furnace. Because the furnace is set up for propane,
tank.
and then you can get rid of that tank and the fence.
Cut it in half and make a barbecue pit out of it.
The roast
Roast meat.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do, and I talked to Mr. Foreman about it, is we will lay down a 4x8 sheet piece of plywood where the trench is gonna be. We'll lay it down, we'll just take the dirt, put it on there, lay the pipe, and while guys come along, shoveling it right back in. We've got a compactor in the back, we'll compact it down, we should be able to do it a day. I'm hoping a day.
Well, the pipe's gonna be 20-foot lengths.
Yeah, it's 250 feet from this side of the section to that side, 250 feet. Shouldn't take that long. The only thing we have to be careful of in there is 3 water lines. The old water lines, and that we know where those are at. That, believe it or not, we know where those are at. So we should have that in no time through the section. Now it's a question of the road. We have to go up to the fence or up just outside. I'm
Just
not sure.
beyond, or just even with the fence, and then we have to mark it so NIPSCO knows right where to make the tap across from it. And NIPSCO will put a shut off on our underground in the easement out there, and that was another reason why we had to go. I tried to get them to just put the smaller line in, but due to the length of it, the guy was worried about not having enough gas. And Kristen, the other guy I talked to, he goes, well, you guys might want to sell that property or add on. I go, there's no place to add on, sir. And we don't need any more furnaces.
Unless we tear down a bunch of houses.
Well, I mean, but not in that area, there's no way.
Right.
Yeah.
And that row where we're at, I've checked, it's almost totally used, so it's not like we're gonna have to do any more burials in the way. Plus it is in the 6-foot easement. We're gonna be right up, butted up against, so we're going to be well within what I was told is legal. It's just a question, like I said, getting a couple days where no funerals or anything, we just go out there.
And I got market price on piping.
And then we gotta get 300 feet of rope.
Yeah, we gotta stick rope into it so they can hook on their Chinese finger to the end of it and pull it all the way.
You need approval by the board to do that at this point. Nobody's voted on it up to.
How's this gonna do it, whether you approved it or not?
Because we want to get rid of that propane.
That
so bad.
propane is nasty.
I know.
Well, and it's leaking out there.
When are you gonna do it?
I'm hoping we can get it going next week. If we could, like Paul said there, once we get the line in, they can come and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
We'll run that sizzle rope through there, or sisal, whatever it's called, and once we get that, That digging at 2 feet, 2.5 feet, it's not gonna take anything. That's zipping along. It's just a question of putting a line down and getting everything ready for that.
Paul, would you make a motion to proceed with this project, seeing that you researched it all?
I make a motion, we go through with the gas, natural gas line coming up to the chapel in Greenwood. That we install the sleeve so NIPSCO can do their thing.
I never understood that when that was built in '84, why that was not done. Never understood that. Why they went with bottled gas.
I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the move to get that gas split line switched over, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Go to it.
Got it other yet, or are we done with the new?
Are we
No.
gonna get a chance to get the chapel pressure washed before we shut the water off?
I don't know.
I asked 4 months ago, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
well, it looks the same, it doesn't change that.
Anything
it's
else
dirtier.
for new business? If not, I'd like to bring up a point. I've been obviously not here, which has helped because it gave you an extra seat in this mammoth room. I know this was more convenient for some of the members, and I think if we would have had the new board member here too, with everybody else, we've been sitting on top of each other. They can't get a decent angle for filming or anything here. I would like to see us move back out to Swan Lake because it's just more conducive for the meeting.
We had approved staying here in the cold months. And I think it was was it November through spring? Okay, the dark months.
Yeah, and then for some reason, it kept bumping.
Well, because
No,
of
then the
because
construction,
the construction out there on
Yeah.
20 was supposed to be going this whole time, as they haven't.
And supposedly, I drove that way today, I can see where they're working to the west.
Right,
But if you come in off of Michigan Boulevard there,
right. Well,
it shouldn't be a problem at all.
when they first introduced it, they were gonna be starting
Yeah,
and just continuously going when we made the
You
motion.
couldn't even get in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
so I bring that up as a personal feeling. And I don't know if anybody else has got a preference at this point.
next month, we can have it out Swan Lake next month, as long as there's no road construction. We can tentatively set it up for that, and then we can see what's going on out there.
But we've already decided that we're gonna stay here during the cold months. And I don't remember if it was October or
I
November.
don't remember.
We already approved that. So we're only a month away from
Well,
that. So we'd go out to Swan Lake for 1 month and then.
Well, just so we can see, the board can have a chance to look what's going on out there too.
Well, you're gonna need something definite because of the cameraman.
Right, well, I know. I was just saying for one meeting, that's all.
Say other.
Hmm?
Say other.
Anybody have anything else?
I do. We had an individual call mayor's office a day this week and said that the flags at Swan Lake and the entrance were faded and some of them were tattered. So I don't put them out, so I went out and looked, and some were faded and some were tattered. I in turn talked to Ron Pittman from John Franklin Miller Post. He was here the other day for a funeral, and I said I didn't know who was in charge of Post 37 anymore, because I know he gave up after Memorial Day. He didn't want to be the grand poobah anymore, so they gave it to another guy. He told me, don't worry about it. He'll get me flags. We're going to get all new flags for Swan Lake for the entrance. We're also, he said maybe in the spring we'll get new flags for our entrance up here at Greenwood. So we'll be getting new flags out there. I also showed him a flag that the clubs, when we built that veterans area out there, that was a condition the clubs were supposed to rotate each year and put up flags in the veterans area. And I honestly don't know which veterans group it was this year, but these were the worst flags. They're already shot. I've had to replace a couple of them I've ever had. So if we get complaints about the veterans, it's not ours. You know, we really shouldn't call us. But the entrance we'll take care of. So I don't know if there's anyone, if there's like a wall gang or anyone, you know, because Ron said, when I showed Ron the flags, he was very upset how cheap these flags were this year. The grommets they weren't a full grommet, they were only half a grommet. We've had 3 pull right out of the flag ropes during windstorms. And I've gone down to fly them high and gotten better ones put up there. But when that was built 13 years ago, that was under the assumption that the clubs were going to supply flags for that every spring. That's all. I just want to bring that up too. So we do the best we can with the flags out there on the veterans area. They don't make it through a whole season, and we do not let the service flags stay up the whole winter. We take those down after Veterans Day, and we just leave up the American flag, the POW flag, and the Indiana flag are the only ones that are left. And those are heavy-duty, good flags. The other ones, not so much. So they're only up there from Memorial Day until after Veterans Day. But those flags will be replaced now, and I want to get them replaced and fixed on our poles before Veterans Day, so long before that, hopefully, but so at least by Veterans Day we can have that flag stand up there again. Now, rattle my own chain here, we didn't have any of that before I took over. We never had flags like that out here in the cemetery, either one. When I took over, we put those flags here in the main entrance, the same way at Swan Lake, and people were just, we had a lot of people come in and take pictures of the entrance because of the flag. Oh, I remember number 7.
We can't go back to the number 7.
Yeah, but number 7, hey, I got number 7. Under my business. Anybody saw it, we got the plaque in place and put up. There we went, I talked to the gentleman from LaPorte at Covens. We bought some stuff called Domo, and we mixed it up, and there is no way, he said, this will ever come out of that spot again.
Looks very nice.
Does it? I thought it looked bad. It's got a little bit of scar on it, but as it gets older, we all got scars and nicks, so. But it's been put up now. I want to thank the foreman here and the worker, Dave and Tim, for helping and putting that up.
Looks very nice.
I suppose I should thank the guys at Swan Lake for the trees too, Rick and Randy, just so they don't feel slighted. I should probably thank Roxanne for something.
Something.
Every day.
I'm done.
For answering the phone.
Well, trying to anyway.
Screaming in it. Hello, hello.
So IT's not giving you any help at all, right?
No, they're gonna look into it.
Look into it.
But they'll come back and tell us we have a microwavable line out there. That's what they call it. At least that's what they told us. And like I said, Andy, that's the head of IT, said you are gonna have problems with this. You're gonna have problems with it because that's the line that's out
Yeah,
there.
but that's not solving anything.
You're right.
They're gonna
It's
have to
just
give you, they're gonna have to issue you a phone for the office.
Right.
Maybe send a letter saying, hey, this is serious.
Yeah, it's becoming annoying plus serious.
You can't do the
Otherwise, you
job
have no
properly.
record. You know, people say, oh, yeah, we don't remember you calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, calls and do anything.
yeah, so that's what I would do. Send a
And
letter.
address it to who? IT? the mayor?
IT.
IT and the mayor.
And the
And the
mayor?
We
mayor,
copy the
too.
mayor.
Copy the
Copy
mayor,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Immediate action.
That's it.
Right now, yeah.
Departments are here and we're here.
Right, that's okay. We can't,
The
if we
nuclear
can't perform
option.
business, what's the point, you know?
Right.
Well, you know, you looked at this, we don't get any tax money, so they don't care.
Anyway,
Okay.
Okay.
I'll say, because, okay, let's figure out where we're gonna be next week, because we did have a meeting and just said we're gonna have all the meetings here until when, I can't remember.
it was gonna be like from either the end of October, probably around the time to change, time change.
And we're gonna have them here during the winter months, right?
Yes.
So we can have it at Swan Lake next week, is that what you?
That's, sure.
Okay, we'll have it at Swan Lake next week, right? Sound good? Next month.
Right?
Where?
Okay,
No, North Carolina.
meeting's adjourned.
I'm going to Florida.